Hey guys, just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about cybersecurity. Just so you know, I'm not going to go super in depth here or super into detail on the technical aspects of cybersecurity. Mainly just going to focus on kind of the surface level that applies to consumers like you and me. So basically, cybersecurity is protecting digital information. That could be pictures, it could be Word documents, it could be metadata from your computer, or it could be more sensitive things like your credit card number, um, or your address or things like that. And there's a number of ways that people can try to access this information when it's stored on your computer or in a Dropbox or in your email account or wherever. Um, and there's just kind of some basic knowledge that I think most people should have when it comes to protecting their data and specifically cybersecurity. So cybersecurity kind of sounds like a big, technical term, but it's really pretty simple. It's the same as if I had a folder of physical files and I wanted to keep thieves from breaking into my house and accessing those files. It's the same thing, just on a computer and on the internet. You can do a lot of things like password protecting your accounts, enabling two-factor authentication, using encryption to protect your files. But there's a few things that are kind of out of your control, and I wanted to talk a little bit about those as well. So if you have files stored in Dropbox or files stored in your Gmail account, or let's just say you use online banking. No matter how good of password you have, no matter how kind of obscure you've hidden things, let's say deep in a Dropbox folder, or some other way where you disguise your phone number as text instead of a number. If a service like Dropbox or Gmail has a hack and someone breaks into their servers and breaks their encryption and then is able to access the files on there, that's out of your control. So if you have a really strong password, but someone's able to hack into Google servers or Dropbox's servers and access all the files on their servers, you're kind of out of luck, and that's out of your control. So that's why it's really important to avoid storing things in cloud storage if possible. So things like Dropbox and iCloud are super convenient, and they definitely have some really positive uses that I think are a good idea. But it's not a good idea to store sensitive information in there, like a document that has your social security number in it, or a bank statement or something like that, that if someone were able to access, they could potentially use information from it to compromise your other information or to steal your money, or whatever it may be. So there's just kind of some common sense that comes into play when it comes to cybersecurity. So don't put sensitive files in online drives. That's pretty straightforward, and anyone with a reasonable understanding of the internet and technology is going to know that that's not the best idea. You can store them on your local hard drive on your computer or your phone or whatever. But if you want to protect that even further, it's a good idea to password protect it, to encrypt the file if possible. And those things, take a little more effort and might take you a few more seconds when you're using your computer and wanting to access those files. But at the end of the day, if it comes down to a few extra seconds to prevent someone from stealing your identity, it's definitely worth it. And I would recommend that 100%. And there are a ton of encryption tools out there that you can use that are pretty streamlined, honestly. And all you have to do is just, install them and then create an encrypted folder. And that folder might, require you to enter a password or do something else to access the files within it. but they're super easy to integrate within your operating system. So it's not, it's not clunky. You can just drag files into the folder and access them whenever you like. And then kind of beyond that, there's just a few other things like, don't share your passwords. If someone messages you on Facebook and it looks like it's your grandma and she says, "Hey there, what's your password?" It's probably not your grandma. I mean, it could be, but it's probably not. And, don't share your password like that. If you have to share your password with someone because you want to give them access to something, it's best to do that in person or to write it down and give it to them on a piece of paper for them to later get rid of. So just use common sense, and that should take care of most of the security threats that consumers face. Cybersecurity from a enterprise standpoint is much more complicated because you potentially have sensitive information like payment info and personal information from thousands or millions of people, and that data can be worth millions of dollars. So businesses like Dropbox or Google or Apple or whoever that collects any information, they're obviously going to have to go to much higher steps, much more serious cybersecurity measures. They'll probably have whole teams dedicated to protecting information and have teams of like hackers just trying to break into their systems constantly to find any weak points or vulnerabilities that they may have overlooked, so they can make sure that those vulnerabilities don't get into the hands of malicious actors and lead to them losing information about millions of people. So, I'm not an expert in cybersecurity, but I can give you a general rundown of how to avoid being hacked and how to avoid having your personal information stolen. So those are just some things to think about, and I hope this was helpful. I think it's important for people to consider cybersecurity and protecting their files. Now that digital files and digital storage is, much more common, it's not weird to have bank records or anything on your computer. So just let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and subscribe if you like this video and got some value out of it. I hope I taught you something.